I'm all I'm all alone. I'm all alone. I, I'm all alone in my dream. I'm all alone. I'm all alone in my dream. I'm all alone in my dreams. I'm all alone in my dream.
what's going on, people? People send me lots of questions. That's good. Yo, what's up, Manny? How you doing? You said, "Oh, I'm interested in this right here." Yeah, that's what's up, man. Appreciate you being here. And DeAndre, yo, what up, King? What up, King? Yeah, just experimenting with the sampling on the OPXY, and I was watching. Can I turn the five up a little bit more? Hang on, how do we do this? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I was watching. What's this guy's name? Ski Beats on Instagram, and he's just doing really really interesting stuff with the sampling on the XY. So it's been inspiring me to kind of like lean in a little bit. Also, I can sample what's happening next to me right now. Let me just experiment a little bit here. Let's try some cool stuff. One sec. So I can go here. Leave this on. I can go here. Make the gain a little. Let's see. Waiting for some talking. Let's see. Okay. Never mind. Let's just dive in and just keep exploring. Hey, can you ask that question again? You said, do the synths on thin on. I think you mean do they sound thin on the XY? Yeah, that's kind of, I guess, what's still to be determined. I've heard people do really interesting and crazy things on the XY, sound wise, with the sounds that are built in here. I'm still like very much in the exploratory phase on this, but I will say that like let's see, the sounds on here are a lot more full than what I was able to create on the OPZ, which I know like the back of my hand, and the stuff I was able to do on the OPZ sound crazy. So I feel like there's still something to be unlocked with this for me. I just haven't really dove into it per se. So like anytime I have like right now a spare moment to just kind of explore and kind of experiment a little bit, that's what, yeah, I'm trying to like unlock it. Still trying to like figure it out. So like right now, for example, like the effects, like I'm checking out the effects in here, which I never really spent that much time dabbling with effects on the OPZ. just because the workflow is a little weird and different than what we're used to, especially like on the OP1 field where you can like add an effect directly to every individual sound. Here you only have like two effects, right, per kind of song, but there's so many interesting ways to work around that, especially when you start dealing with like the like scene mode and stuff like that. So yeah, long convoluted way of saying still TBD, but definitely enjoying it at this moment.
I'm all alone in my no one knows.
Man, that's a really tough question to answer. I have thoughts on it from someone who's used both pretty extensively. Obviously, there's a lot of like things that will determine whether or not. And you can ask as many questions, by the way. Like that's why I do the live streams, like more so for interacting and stuff. So don't worry about that. Plus, this doesn't count as clicking right here. This is still very much in the X4 phase. But appreciate I guess the courtesy of that. Let's see. The expectation is that over time, my feelings about the OPXY are going to be such that it's like the best thing for mobile music production. I think more things are going to come to this to make it easier to be able to say that. But even as is, like with this kind of capable of doing like what it can do right now, I believe that I would. It's so hard to say, but I believe that I would still recommend this over the OPXY or over the OP1 field. I do, however, feel like there's a lot of things with the OP1 field that are just special. Being able to take that out somewhere and just immediately kind of use it as a instant recorder, right, on the tape track, and then get that like to loop and then build some interesting and weird things around that is something that is not that easy to do on here. It's not as immediate. It might be because I'm still working my way around it, but if I were trying to do something similar to that, um, it is kind of doable, right? There's a sample key right there. I can just quickly go in there, and I guess I can kind of do some of the things, but it's a different experience with the open one field. Um, so it's hard to say, but I think for most people, I think that I would recommend the OPXY over the OP1 field because of the quantization, because of how similar it is to make music on here compared to probably where people are already making music on, um, and the depth. It's a lot of stuff to learn, with the punching effects and all that kind of stuff on here too. So that's what I would say. Hopefully that answers your question. So that's the cool thing with this, right? You got that's funny. It kind of is actually, but that's the cool thing. I kind of feel like there's going to be a time where when I make a video talking about this specific device and just like talking a little bit more about it because I've already done a couple of videos on it. Um, what they'll just it's just an interesting journey. It's an interesting journey. It's comparing something like this to the Z and like my experience using that when I first got it compared to this. Like it's been a let's call it a rocky start, maybe something like that. Um, but at times when I'm using this and I'm just kind of like diving in and just experimenting and stuff like that, and I have something like this going, it's just fun and I'm excited. But it's been more often not even frustration, but I guess you can call it frustration. Like not it it just not immediately being where I'm at on the OPZ and then take it to the next level on this. That was like my expectation, when I got this. I'm like, okay, I'm already nice on the OPZ, so I expect to get this, and I'm just gonna get it, and I'll learn the new things that this has to offer, and then it's just gonna like take off. And that's not kind of how my experience has been with the XY thus far, but that's okay, right? It's just like I'm kind of sticking with it, and cause I know, I know what I will soon be able to do on something like this, which is really exciting. So appreciate you being here. Let's keep it going. Let's get some what do they call auxiliary track stuff going on here next. Tilt it up a little so I can see. There we go. Cool. So I think you said adding no drum sound. Yeah, so that's something that we could definitely work on. We can kind of experiment a little bit how to make the drums sound a little bit punchier and stuff. So yeah, I'll check that out in a second. Do you sample your own drums? No, not yet. Yeah. So I feel like the sampling on here is like the sample management is a little bit tricky, and part of it is probably because I'm still kind of getting comfortable with how to use it. But the other part of it, I think, has to do with the fact that like the way samples are stored on here, the fact that you can't delete them if you like mess something up, or you can't like favorite samples and stuff like that. They're just kind of like hard to I think find. But again, I know other people who are doing extremely well on that space, like sampling on here. So still TBD, to be determined on that front. But what I wanted to do now is like like if you have something that's sounding good, sounding interesting, and you like what's happening, I think a good idea could be going right in and like doing a snapshot, like best practice, right? Like this is sounding cool, so I might come over here and oh, you can clone scenes too. Okay, I don't know the difference between clone and reset. That's interesting. But if I go to, it's gonna, yeah, I gotta look at that. It's gonna just bring in, it's gonna copy what's currently happening into the next scene. But I wonder what does clone do? Let's see. Clone scene. Okay, I don't know. I'm not sure the difference between cloning or just going to the next scene. But I guess we'll figure that out as we go ahead. So I might go to 2. And then, like, if I like what's happening, I might, I don't know, mute some stuff. Now I can work on 2, like the second section here a little bit. And we talked about drums sounding a little flat, so let's explore how do we make drums sound beefier. Certainly the mixer section. When we have this happening, maybe muting is an idea, but then another maybe better idea would be to unmute and new each of these sections. Now we can record new stuff onto this next section. Maybe even take this out and move this. Now we could change sounds on any of these tracks and it won't affect the sound that was on the previous one, which is interesting. So what I mean there is, let's see, if I rotate this, so you hear how that's the sound that's applied to track 1, but now if I go to track 2 and go over here, this is what sound, 80s Lover. So now I can go and bring a different piano in. I guess there's a few things we can do. Oh, that's cool. We can go to keys or EPF. So we could even do something like this. Now we're on this sound, and I could copy this scene, I think, and paste it here. So that's going to take everything, but now I can come back over here and bring in a different piano sound, for example. Or whatever. Or maybe, I don't know, organ. Maybe something that's a little more involved, don't we? Category, keys. Benjamin, what up, bro? How are you? Another day, another no. Ableton, push 3. But that's okay. We're having fun with the XY today. Delete this. Oh, look at that. So you can delete. That's new. Delete a scene like that, and then new. All right, so let's keep exploring. Did you find yourself some cool one-shot instrument? No, not yet. I know it is. I know it is. Are we still? Yeah, we are. Okay, I'm gonna bounce. I have something to do in a few minutes. But thank you guys for joining. See you guys in the next one. Peace.